My head. Oh, where am I? Oh, what a New Year's Eve. Those lower decksers really know how to party. Right. What am I doing today? Oh, no.
Heat 'em up.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Intercept in the store, Tease.
Too late. It's locked on Liberté.
These are called Santa Pinks.
Shut your way! Die!
Chevron 1, loaded.
You put something in my head.
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
He's finally matched his meat. You really licked his ass.
Welcome to the Untitled Sci-Fi Show.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Sci-Fi Show. Ooh, where this week we're going to be talking about Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've been going on about save lower decks, but I really have been saving lower decks. I've been saving it as my back catalogue because I've not watched any of it.
Yeah, same. Same, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So...
That first episode put me off. I'm not going to lie, that first episode I thought was so boring and dull compared to the season finale of whatever the season was before it. It put me off a little bit.
You know, I have watched that now.
And it was good, isn't it?
It's pretty good, actually, yeah.
Mind-blowingly good. Just everything explained. And the whole, the final battle, and just it just worked so well.
And the little jokes about him looking like Tom Paris.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those.
That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant.
Anyway, I'm only messing around. We're not here to talk about Star Trek. Not outside of the fact that
it will come back.
Yeah, it will. So, obviously you're aware, because you've of listening to this, hopefully you listened to what was before. The Untitled Trek Show is now the Untitled Sci-Fi Show. We're not going to be focusing just on Star Trek. We're going to be doing everything really, TV, films, I could do books as well. There's those sci-fi books that I really enjoy. Games. We always want to talk about games. We think we're going to put them here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Particularly
I
this
think
week.
We're going to move gaming from the variety show over to the sci-fi show. Not that we've really talked much about gaming in either of them previously. I mean, it was quite heavy Helldivers, but...
yeah, but that was our life, though, wasn't it?
That was our life for a few weeks, and democracy then just left us.
Yeah, we haven't been allowed to vote, and that's the worst thing that could happen to us. They took our voting rights away.
But I feel like gaming has a place here.
Yeah, I think so. It's called sci-fi. It's really kind of all of just our nerdy stuff.
Yeah,
really,
100%.
Yeah.
Insert new non-Star Trek related transition effect here.
Right, so as usual, what have we been doing?
I've watched a few things. Ooh, I know. First thing I went back and watched, after saying I wanted to watch it and watching the wrong film, I finally watched Knowing, which is the whole Mayan prophecy and Nicolas Cage running around going, oh my God, the numbers are right, it's coming to an end. And then the film actually does end with everyone dying and then children being badly CGI'd into a alien oola pee pee poo poo land against a Joshua tree and basically being, yeah, you're just going to repopulate Earth. That girl you're with, yeah, you got a knobber, sorry.
How old are these kids?
They're like 10. It's just like, it's a messed up film. And the nonce watch.
I'm not having the first essence of nonce watch in the Trek, Trek show, the sci-fi show.
The thing is, and I chatted to Gemma about this, up until the whole alien thing, it's not that bad a film. It's got suspense. It's quite an interesting idea. Unfortunately, the problem is it's very rare to find anyone that will end a film with just a really negative, dark end. And for them just to end the film with, we've saved the kids and now everyone dies, maybe was a little too dark, but it was just so badly done that we've just taken the kids and they're in this weird alien cornfield, basically, and they're going towards what looks like a Joshua tree, and it's just really shit. And the whole alien thing at the end, they just don't look good. They could have had a better ending. it would have actually been better to have ended it really negatively and just said, yeah, everyone dies.
Yeah.
The Mayans were right. Shit. But even they wouldn't do that in Deep Impacts. I mean, Deep Impacts, my joke is that's the depressive version of Armageddon. I mean, the only depressing thing about Armageddon is that Bruce didn't let Ben Affleck go and kill himself. It should have so been his job. Leave him. Bruce, leave him. You were the better person.
Yeah.
But yeah, Deep Impact kills half the fucking planet, and it kills the cast of the saviors and the heroes on their space shuttle.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of depressing things, but at least they ended it. They could have done better.
Well, I thought you were describing National Treasure until you started getting the aliens.
Oh no, National Treasure is a good film. I like National Treasure.
Just when you were saying about Nicolas Cage running around, I was like, well, that's
yeah.
basically National Treasure.
That's Nicolas Cage if you think about it. The Rock, Face Off, all those. He's just running around.
Con Air.
Con
He
Air.
was running around in Con Air when he's off the plane.
I said, put the bunny down. Well, tough shit. So yeah, I watched Knowing, and it wasn't as bad as I remember. It's still, in my book, a bad film, but it wasn't as bad as I remember.
Yeah.
I then watched on Freevee, which is Amazon's free kind of thing, like Plex is one.
Yeah.
I watched RoboCop, the Prime Directives.
The Prime Directives.
So this, I think, must be one of the first examples of what the Americans would call an R. Is it R-rated for an 18?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So we would call it an 18, so Americans would call it an R rating.
Right.
It's the first example of something that went to the cinemas that was designed for adults that then got kidified so they could try and market it to children as well. And I remember when it aired in the UK, it aired on ITV on a Saturday, and it would have been around maybe the lunchtime, and they were like half-an-hour episodes, and it's this story of, you'd got RoboCop, then his best friend gets turned into basically RoboCop 2 in, if I vaguely remember, it's slightly darker RoboCop, basically. And there's there's so much to unpack in it. Then one of the scientists who disagrees with all of it gets murdered, but instead she gets embedded into the computer instead, and it goes all a bit Power Rangers at one point where her face is on this kind of glowing warp core tube thing. And it's about RoboCop trying to persuade that the new RoboCop that actually they used to be friends and that he needs to fight these directives he's been given because, of course, they've marketed RoboCop as bad again.
Yeah.
It's dire. It's absolutely dire. But it is interesting to see that something took that adult-rated thing that we already know. It's always been a weird thing for me that you could go into a toy shop back in the 80s and 90s and it's like, yeah, Alien. You know that film that's really scared a lot of adults? Let's make kid toys of that. Or Terminator.
I've got the Terminator 2 toys in the room next to us.
Exactly.
I've got the motorbike. It opens up, fires a rocket out the top of it.
Yeah. Then that's the proof, isn't it?
Yeah.
The kids have not seen the film. So for them, all these kids of this generation went and bought the Terminator 2 bike. It's like, oh, wow, when I'm old enough to watch this is going to be so cool. He fires a missile out the bike. Does he fuck?
Yeah, it's just a normal Harley.
Yeah.
Like
With about 300... Oh, no, so it's the dirt bike that's got 300 gears.
So my boy's lost the bloody missile. That survived my whole childhood, that thing. He's had it for
50 quid on eBay.
A few years and he's lost the missile. But yeah, I've got the... So I did have the T1000. The T1000 toy was brilliant because it would the chest and pieces would come off it and you could replace them. And
that's cool.
And the arm would come off and it would be a big spiked arm.
Well,
and
the one that I really remember was the... it was this big toy. It was in the Argos catalogue and it basically came with, I guess it was like putty or something, and you'd squeeze it in and it would make... You'd put the endoskeleton in and then you'd squeeze like Play-Doh over it and it became like the skin of the T800.
I've got a feeling I had that. So I've also got the little figure of Arnie, and you can take the arm off and it can be a normal arm or take it off and then it's a flesh destroyed arm and you pull a thing out and then what isn't in the film, a spike comes out his arm. Well, that's the wrong Terminator, isn't it? That's the T1000. When does Arnie do a fist and then a spike come out of the fist? In T2?
No. Has the toy creator fucked up? Big question. As RoboCop, he has a spike in his hand, and that's how he uses kind of
a fist.
When he makes a fist, I think it is the first film. he starts having the memory of what's going on, and he storms into this police station. He makes a fist, and this giant spike comes out, and he pushes it into the computer
that's the toy.
to do the data transfer.
That's on the the bike's in there, but they don't know where
But my
Arnie
point is, has the toy creator got RoboCop muddled up with Terminator
I wonder.
and included
I'll have to
that?
find it before you leave. And
As
you
it's
can
a similar
see it.
era.
Yeah. And then I've got the tall one. I don't know how you can tell me how big that is. That high.
Right, okay.
Of Terminator. His arms kind of just move forward and backwards, but he's got 5 buttons on the back.
Ooh.
One's a machine gun noise, one's a shotgun, and then the other 2 are "I'll be back," and then "Hasta la vista, baby," and then the middle one just makes his eyes light up. And he has a minigun.
Oh,
So
wow.
you just
So
used
it's
to
a
go, "I'll be
T2 one
back,"
again.
and then the shotgun is.
But isn't it weird? So we went through this era. You wouldn't get that now. You wouldn't get like, I don't know, Smile, the horror film.
Yeah,
by the way,
imagine.
we've done kids' toys for Smile.
And they're like what they call it, emify it, like it'd be all like Japanese.
Yeah. Or Alien Romulus. Oh, yeah, we've re-released the toy range for kids.
Yeah.
Including kind of the birth scene where the baby rips out. It's just like, yeah, of course, that's what we did, isn't it? It just...
You do a little slider and it comes out of chest, and then push it back in, it goes back in again, right next to the Bluey toys.
But that was just an era. It was the 80s. No, they did that.
Yeah.
You don't do it now.
No.
Funny that. But yeah, Prime Directives, it's shit. It's terrible. It is basically PG-rated RoboCop with a really crap story.
Oh.
And it's funny because I remember watching it the first time round when it was on ITV, and I just always assumed, because I hadn't seen RoboCop 1, 2 or 3,
Yeah.
I'd assumed what they'd done is they'd watershed it and they'd split it into like 30-minute gap bits or 25-minute bits to make it an episode-based thing. Of course, now looking back at it, there's like 10 episodes or whatever it is, so it could never have been the film. So it was this weird separate thing, but yeah, not good.
Well, would you look at this? 12 minutes in, and he's already fucked it up. Great planning, mate. Great planning.
Before we get going any further,
Well, I've got to ask you.
yeah,
what-
I know, but before we get any further, I said to you before we stopped recording, I've done a little bit of planning, but not really planned. The intro was fucking shit. Have you had a nice Christmas?
Yeah, I've
You had a nice time off.
Not too bad, thank
I
you.
would have saved it for the variety show, because that's more of a conversational element of the variety
Well,
show.
that is actually something we're discussing in the next show.
Okay, right. And also, you may notice, obviously, the intro's changed.
It has.
And we're going to be playing a game that'll be, you can listen to it, that everyone would have heard it now. You will have heard it in the past, because anybody that had listened to the special and the end after the credits of the special will have heard the very same
will
intro that
have.
we just played now. And inside the intro is 7 cuts, like audio snippets, and they're from different sci-fi shows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so there's 7. So there's 7 different shows hidden in that intro, and the first person who can list all 7, excluding anybody from the studio lot
Right,
and
yes.
Stiddy, because or anybody that follows my private account on Facebook will know the answers already, because we've discussed it already. I'll give you a shout out on the next show. If
No,
anybody
you
does.
know what? I'm gonna put something else to it. I will give them a £10 Amazon voucher if whoever's the first one to email you all 7 of them correctly to rob@channel84.co.uk, I will pony up a £10 Amazon voucher for that.
Well, don't do that every week, because we're
No,
not
no,
playing
it's
this
not
game
gonna be
every
every
week. Just
week.
this first one.
For this first
all
one.
7. I want all. You don't have to do them in order. That would be great if you could, but all 7, and you have to be exact if you want to win this £10.
100%. Yeah. And also, by the way, if you go and listen to the Variety Show episode, which is coming after this one, obviously this came out, then the Variety Show is the week after. I'm testing you on your sci-fi knowledge. There's going to be 15 sci-fi clips you've got to identify.
Well, as everyone knows, I know fuck all about Trek. I know fuck all about sci-fi too.
But you're good on Garage.
Hero. That's a spaceship warping, obviously.
Right, what have I been doing?
What
have I
have you
been
been
watching?
doing, Robert?
Okay, so we finished Dune. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, what a great series. You know, I almost said I enjoyed it more than films, but it's on completely on par with those two remakes of the films, which I think are brilliant.
Now, it's funny you say that because I was going through Plex earlier trying to work out what to watch, and I thought, I'll have a look at what free shit's available. They've got the old Dune TV series on there, which I didn't realise is James McAvoy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Did I already know that? Well, he's very young. He would have been very young.
Yeah, in fact, while you're talking, I'm going to quickly look it up because I can't remember what date they said it was.
I don't know if I've seen the original film. Miranda brought it for me. I think it was last Christmas or my birthday, 2023, on Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, the two remake films are great. This series was absolutely brilliant. So that was we binged that. We just finished Squid Game 2. I'm not going to tell you anything about it because you're just into it now. But I thought Squid Game 2 was fantastic as well. We binged that.
I'm looking forward to getting into it. I've just watched the first episode and it's brilliant. It really is good.
Before you came here, I just watched... I'm now Googling because I can't remember what it's called. There's this new series on Amazon where every episode's different. It's very much like the Netflix series Love, Death and Robots. Stitch is going to kill me because he's going to be shouting at his phone now. Let's just pause for a second.
Jesus, so unprofessional.
Right, we're back. I'll cut some of that. Secret Level. So I just watched the first episode of Secret Level, which was a D&D one.
Yeah, because I've got the Warhammer one coming up at some point.
So good. Which is the Warhammer one? Let's go to the episode list. Yeah, so Warhammer is episode 5.
Right, okay.
So Sifu is the next one I'm going to watch. But yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons one, wow. Stylistically, brilliant. The people that have worked on that, on the computer graphics of that as well, brilliant. The face, all the like the characters' faces, there's none of that...
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, there's none of that. They look fucking brilliant.
Oh, that's good.
I think as well, because it is stylized, they've gone for realism, quote unquote, but stylized it to not be realistic, if that makes sense. So the models look real, but the color scheme isn't, and I think that's what keeps it away from being
that makes sense.
Yeah, and it was really good. Really, really good. So if anyone's likes Love, Death and Robots, anybody into any of this shit that we're talking about on this podcast, I think then they'll like this so far. I mean, I've only one episode out of 15. Okay. So they might be crap.
It could suddenly crash and burn.
Could be crap.
But...
I mean, there's a few on here that you're kind of like, I think there's a Pac-Man one. But for all I know, the Pac-Man one could be the best one for all I know.
For 45 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
Children of Dune, by the way, was James McAvoy's one. Well, 2003.
Yeah, that is the series. 2003, really?
Yeah, 2003. Okay. Alec Newman and James McAvoy were the titling people on it.
Isn't that what... Because I don't know, but I don't really know. Like the two Dune films, they're not just the first... Like the remake too. Are they just remakes of the first film, or are they both together? I
honestly have no idea because I've never watched any of it. I've never followed the story of Dune. The only bit of Dune I know was being disappointed after playing Dune 2, loving it and thinking, I want to play the first one, and realising it wasn't a real-time strategy.
Oh.
It's a point-and-click adventure, basically.
Well, they've got a new one coming out. It's like supposedly some kind of survival MMO or something.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, the ones I played, Dune 2, loved. Basically, it was Command and Conquer, but Dune. And then we got Dune 2000, which is... It was just
it 2K?
An
did
updated
they put a K
version
rather
of
than
it.
2000?
No, they did put 2000.
Oh, okay.
It was June 2000, and it was just an updated version of June 2, basically. Nicer graphics, so probably in line with maybe Red Alert 2 instead, that sort of era. And it was just really good game. It was made by Westwood, so it was just Command and Conquer in a different guise. So that's all I really know of Dune.
So that's really what I've been doing.
Fair enough.
And then other than looking after the boy.
The boy.
Really? I'm doing this? Hardly Shakespeare, is it? Accessing library computer data. Ridiculous.
So, for the eagle-eared listeners who might remember back before Christmas, we went to the cinema together.
We did.
And what did we see?
The 40th anniversary?
Yeah, it might have been.
I'm pretty sure it was the 40th anniversary of the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we went to the cinema.
It was so worth seeing it on the big screen.
Yeah, really was.
So worth it. Seeing the practical effects, even that big on screen, they still look good.
They look great, yeah.
The librarian is still genuinely disturbing.
Yeah. You watch and you think, yeah, okay, if it was done now, obviously aspects of it would be better, quote unquote better. But all the practical stuff, you don't get any better than it. It is what it is. It's, okay, some of the way they do things now, they might have different technologies for making different things. But the practical side of it, practical in my book is best.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm still the bastion of thinking The Thing is one of the best
The
practical
Thing
effect films.
or Scanners.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I think
There's
I've
a
seen
brilliant
Scanners.
scene when I think he's a newsreader, his head explodes. And I've seen, I think it wasn't Mythbusters, but I think Adam Savage explained how it was done. And basically, they had the mannequin there with the model's head, and it was just full of red goo and everything like that. And someone sat behind the chair with a shotgun and fired the shotgun at the back of this model's head.
Yeah.
Making it just explode in the way it did.
Well, the thing is as well about my feeling about horrors is that the less you see of the baddie, the better the baddie is.
Unless
Because it's
science.
your imagination. Yeah, unless it's science. Because your imagination takes over. And, that's one thing about, like, Alien, first Alien. You didn't really see the alien's whole kind of visage. Did you?
So actually, very quickly, and I know it's moving away from Ghostbuster, Alien or Aliens, which is your preference?
Yeah, see, I quite like Alien.
See, Alien is my preference. And I know they're two very different films. So Alien is a horror.
Yeah.
Horror thriller, I guess you'd go down the route.
Aliens is an
Aliens is an
film.
action.
Yeah.
They are two very different films. And I really don't know if it's true, but apparently the funding process for Aliens was James Cameron walked into the room, wrote Alien on the board, and then put $1 after the word alien and said, aliens. And that was it. They said yes. So apparently that's the story.
I can believe it.
I can believe it, to be honest. But no, Alien for me is the perfect, because it's that one-on-one mentality. It's that you're being hunted by this thing. When it uncurls from the wall
Yeah.
towards the end of the film, it's just brilliant. It's really good.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry,
and the
but-
chest exploding.
But yeah, it's the practical effect. I absolutely agree. Practical effects. And we've said it on the show before. There is a reason why you look back at some of the old Star Trek films. When you see the old Enterprise 1701 floating around in space dock outside of Earth, the reason it looks so good is because it's real.
Well,
So you're actually looking at something that is real. Even though we all know the 1701 doesn't exist, the fact that the model there is on
model
screen,
exists.
it looks real. It looks the part. Whereas all these modern sci-fi films, I just, why is everything shiny?
Well, didn't we make this point when we watched that original series episode and they took all the practical outside elements out and did CGI?
Yeah,
ones?
everything had changed to
And it
CGI.
was
Everything's clean.
I was like, this
and
is fucking
shiny.
gross. It looked awful.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the stuff I made at uni. It was rubbish.
It's like every battle the fucking Enterprise has been in. Are you telling me someone goes out there with a sponge and a bucket and cleans off the blaster marks?
So, I do wonder how they keep their ships so clean.
So today, right, that's space dock. We need to go to Deep Space 7. Yeah, they're the ones that have got the Starship wash.
Yeah, have you got the stamp card? I've got 6. get this for free.
These giant rotating things in space that you take your starship
Get a
through.
roller.
Oh, not quite centered. Oh no!
No, it'd be when you're cleaning the inside of a fish tank, you have like one of those magnetic sponges. You've seen those? It'd be like just people on the inside of the ship. They have one on the outside, and they'll be using like a magnet scrubbing the outside of the
Brilliant.
ship.
It's like, right, we've paid for it. Hang on, why are we so dirty still? Who didn't turn the shields off?
He's been scrubbing the shield. Well, that's what it'd be. Aren't all of the wing, the things at the front, the wing shields, as it were, all like?
They're just a screen.
because now it's You said about it, the see-through metal alloy that Spock.
Oh yeah.
creates. Not that Scotty invents. Yeah,
transparent aluminium.
that's yeah. What a load of bollocks.
Correct, aluminum.
Yeah, so where were we? Ghostbusters.
Anyway, right, Ghostbusters.
This is a Star Trek podcast.
The
anymore.
practical effects of the original Ghostbusters film,
Yeah.
and even the second one, and I know people are really down on the second one. I like the second one, but
I've just seen the second one a million times. It's still a really good film, but I've just seen it so because that was the one they put on.
they
the
always
time.
repeated it.
Yeah.
Always. I remember Channel 5 started airing in the UK, and I think one of the first films they put on was fucking Ghostbusters 2.
That or porn.
Yeah, that or porn. Or ice hockey.
Yeah, they had some shit on there, didn't they?
Oh, you must say it's Channel 4.
I
If you
couldn't
imagine-
get Channel 5 though. I couldn't even get it.
You see, weirdly, it was my best mate's dad was the one that was allocated to Chiswell Green to go round and tune everyone's TV, and he was paid by the government to go into people's houses and tune their TVs to Channel 5.
Oh, he couldn't tune their televisions.
Because it was a new channel. No one... It had
I
been in
could
the
tune-
press, it had been in the newspaper, but don't forget, we could. Can you imagine your dad trying to tune the TV?
Yeah. He can now change the inputs. Sorry, Dad.
Ooh.
He's been shown how to. He's got a
Yeah, but he's been shown.
Android
But go
by
back
me.
then, on the old CRT, nice big old TV, where it would have been dependent on the age of the TV. It might have been done through the controller, but I remember ours, the first TV we had, went up to the TV and you pressed, and out came this little tray, and you had all the channel numbers there, and each of them had a little rotary dial, and you had to change, and that's how you tuned each separate number.
Yeah, I wonder. I'd have to ask him because he did have a lot of stuff back then. He was quite. He would always be getting the new thing. We joke now that he's always getting the 10-year-old stuff because he knows it works.
But back then he didn't.
But back then he wasn't. He was always getting these massive televisions that took 4 of us to lift it into the fucking living room. Do you ever come to my house and you had that massive bloody... How big was it? It must have been a 50-inch CRT.
Vaguely.
And it went to Chris, and Chris brought
Oh,
it for us.
really?
Yeah. He never actually gave my dad the money, Chris. We all helped
Imagine
him get
putting
in the
an
car.
N64 on that now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where am I
Dreams,
going with this?
dreams.
Yeah. The thing is, I knew how to tune because I had to tune my Mega Drive in.
True. Yes.
So I had the little switch box.
We didn't have like the Americans, which was, what do they have? Like change it to channel 3 or...
No, so I'd
11
always
or
drop it
something
down
like
to
that.
99
Yep.
rather than going up to 5 and then later up to 6. So I'd drop it down 1 to 99 and I'd tune that one in.
Yeah, I think we used to do it on channel 9, I think, weirdly, but it was just whatever it was, wasn't it? But Ghostbusters. Right, no, I've got... so putting the practical effects to one side,
Yeah.
the story of the first one is good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyable.
Yeah. And it's funny.
It is funny. And again, we are affected by the world of the watershed, aren't we? Because I remember I only ever saw it on TV. Mm-hmm. So obviously
Same.
never knew the blowjob scene was in there and various other bits that have been cut for watershed reasons.
Yeah.
So finally when you got round to seeing, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was waiting for the cut that never came.
Yeah.
Like, so it normally cuts it. Oh, it's still going?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Sigourney.
Oh, yeah, we're adults now, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it is a bit creepy that Dan Aykroyd sedates Sigourney Weaver and then basically, it's just like,
Yeah.
no, you cuss at the right time. You've just really, really made a bad scene out of this.
Yeah. I would say he's a bit of a lech, isn't he, old, what's his name?
Oh, not Stance is the other one.
Venkman.
Venkman, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of a lech. Kind of almost like, I kind of feel like he was almost typecast into that kind of role, it almost felt like, because everything I kind of remembering in my head of him being in, well, really just that and...
Groundhog Day.
Day. Yeah, that's what I mean. And Groundhog Day, to the two things, Ghostbusters and that, I'm thinking of him being in.
Oh,
he's the same person in those two.
So, yeah, I guess he's not a lech in Blues Brothers.
No, he's not.
And he's not a lech... Well, he might be a lech in Stripes. I don't know.
Well, hang on, he's not in Blues Brothers.
Oh, no, that's
No.
not... No, sorry, I'm thinking... Yeah,
That's Dan Aykroyd.
That's Dan
is in
Aykroyd, yeah,
Blues
ignore
Brothers.
me.
He's not a lech in the one he does with the girl who's in the Marvel films, Scarlett Johansson. What was that one called?
Lucy, is it? Is that the one?
No. Oh, fucking hell. It's just going to turn into an episode of us IMDbing everything.
No, right, no. We know
Anyway,
which one you mean.
we know what we meant. Well,
But yeah, it's quite hard to watch now. I don't think I ever thought about it in the past.
I don't think I noticed it even remotely originally.
No, so it just goes to show how values and what is acceptable or seen as acceptable, I guess, has changed. But sticking with Ghostbusters then. Really hard question, because it really depends how you remember. And I'll go first, so I go off the names, and then hopefully that will help you. What kind of order, seeing I like doing orders and lists.
We like a list.
Oh, I like a list. It's definitely not a tism. What order would you put it in? Let's start with your most favourite to your least favourite of the Ghostbusters franchises. So it's a little difficult thinking about all the new films as well.
So the original ones?
So for me, the whole list goes original Ghostbusters, because it is just the original.
Yeah.
Followed up by the real Ghostbusters as the cartoon, because
the cartoon.
the real Ghostbusters, and that's a very close thing. It could easily, depend on the day of the week and if the sun is just at the right point, take the first spot, in my opinion. So it would go original Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Now, I don't think this is a shocking thing, and I think people need to grow the fuck up. I'm actually going to put the 2016 Ghostbusters in there. Answer the call.
The girls one. Yeah, I really like that
because
one.
it's just stupid fun.
Yeah.
The one thing I wish they'd done with it is not just try to retell the original Ghostbusters with new people, but instead make it almost, if you're going to do anything, get rid of Ghostbusters 2 and make it like they're a franchise after the original film, or even have it somewhat set at the same time that Ghostbusters 2 is going on, but have them as a franchisee in a different part of America, and just their story going on separately to what's going on in New York. And in fact, you could even have the fun bit tie in that, like at the end of the film, you could have them looking at the paper and go, oh my God, look what happened in New York. And then there's Ghostbusters 2. That's what I would have rather than just kind of try and forget that Ghostbusters 1 existed and redo the story.
They could have done the joke then of being like, it's all men. Well, I can do this with us all women. And then you could run on a joke of it being all the women like having so much trouble, kind of like the Ghostbusters kind of do.
Yeah.
Just them having their own kind of like, fucking hell, it is actually really difficult to do this. Oh, bollocks, you know?
Yeah. That's the only thing I would say. But even with that, I still put it in third place because I think it's actually really good.
Yeah, but we both just fancy that one woman that's in it.
Yeah, okay. Then I would probably put Ghostbusters 2 because I've got a very fondness for that film because I grew up with it, I guess.
Yep.
And then after that, it's difficult. I think Frozen Empire has been the best out of the new films. Mm-hmm. Following Frozen Empire, it will probably be whatever the new film was before that one. And at the least favourite, I've got to put Extreme Ghostbusters because I've never watched it. That was the Extreme Ghostbusters was the next cartoon after Real Ghostbusters. So it would have been. I don't
think I've seen.
I think it was. I want to say early thousands, mid 2000s.
I'm not sure I've seen it.
And it was just a kind of reimagining of the Real Ghostbusters. And again, you'd already got it's not the right way to say it, but you could see how things were changing because they introduced a wheelchair-bound Ghostbuster and Ghostbusters that were very different to what we had seen in the Real Ghostbusters instead. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to expand and make it more open to all kind of people.
Yeah.
But as I've not watched it, I honestly can't say if it's good or not. So I'm going to have to put that at the very end.
I think I'm original Ghostbusters and then cartoon. I think I would, even though I do complain slightly about Ghostbusters 2, I'd probably put that in third. Because, I have seen it loads, but I still really enjoy it. If it was on telly at the exact same time as the 2006 movie, is it 2006, did we say, or 2016? 2016. I think I'd still put Ghostbusters 2 on over it, but then it's that. So that's my only change to what you've done. I think I'll swap them two. And then
fair enough.
At the end, the very last one is that, I have no idea what that cartoon is. The two new films. Now, I really did like Frozen Empire, but I think I actually preferred the first one over it. So I might swap them round.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the
See,
one before I actually preferred.
I thought the very first one, where they end up moving away, and I found it very dry. I really enjoyed some of it. I really loved the Afterlife, that's what it was called.
Afterlife, yeah.
I really enjoyed what was basically a very forced fan service. So a couple of the ghosts you saw in it were the real Ghostbusters toys, because I had those ghosts as toys that came with the ectoplasm tubs. So I really enjoyed that. I just felt that Frozen Empire had a better story to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
They didn't waste Gozer. Again, it's going back and rehashing something we'd already had. Whereas Frozen Empire, it felt like it was a good new story.
I mean, I've only seen them both once, but I just kind of remember I really enjoyed the second one, but I also remember really enjoying the first one.
Oh, fair enough.
So,
I saw the first one on the big screen, really enjoyed it. I saw the second one on the big screen, really enjoyed it. I rewatched Afterlife on whatever streaming it had come to, and I didn't feel the need to go back and finish it.
yeah.
So I don't know if it was just a one-off watch and that was it done for me. So I do need to give it a fair chance and go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
Because I do remember enjoying it at the cinema, but I remember enjoying Frozen Empire more.
Yep. I think I would love to see more. I'm really happy they're doing these old films at cinema again, and I want to see more. I'm still gutted I missed Demolition Man. I've got to see Demolition Man at cinema. I'd like to see RoboCop.
Right,
I'd
well, we
love
missed
to see the
that as well.
Terminators.
We missed them as well. They were last year.
They'll
because
go
they were
back. They'll go back
They
on.
were all
though.
1984, the majority of those films.
Oh,
they
so
were
it was all
40th
anniversary. I wonder if
anniversaries.
they'll just do them again anyway.
I'm sure they will, because Cineworld has put up on Twitter saying, what old films would you like to see again this year?
Oh, okay. But
So they
Demolition
are
Man back on.
doing more. I'd love to see the original Alien on the big screen.
Oh yeah, me too. Predator.
Predator on big screen I'd like to see. Time Cop. No, sorry, I really don't want to see Time Cop because it's shit. I would like to see The Running Man and Total Recall,
Running Man, yeah.
because they're just those classic 80s stupid films. They weren't, well, I know they wanted them to be good, but they weren't really.
Beep, beep, boop, beep, click, click, beep, boop.
Right, there's something else that you and I have been doing for the last couple of weeks, I think.
It's been more than a couple of weeks, Rob. Come on. At least that's what my
Sorry.
wife thinks.
Sorry, yeah.
Right. Gaming.
We have both got two very expensive, quite large items in front of us. It is called a penis.
It is.
No, that's one thing mine definitely isn't.
Yeah, I mean, if you're shoving this into someone, then they've got problems.
Everyone who listens to the show know that we both were in love with our Retroids.
Yes.
When we all know the dramas I had with mine, even I still love it. I had a lot of dramas
And
with
mine, yeah, I dropped
Yeah,
it and
you had
knackered the
the
shoulder
problems too.
button as well at the airport when I was going for like a 3-hour flight. So when I could have really have done with it on the plane
Yeah.
as well, and I lost the left shoulder button.
Oh no, it was my 3DS. I did that when I took my 3D because I've modded my 3DS.
Yes.
And I took that to Canada with us, and it shook around and the SD card dislodged inside.
Blame Canada.
Yeah, so I couldn't play it at all because I didn't. You had to have a screwdriver to open
get
up
it
that,
out,
and I
yeah.
didn't have one. No one on the plane had one. I was asking stewards if you've got something I could open. So no, we haven't got screwdrivers on the plane. So you have. You've got screwdrivers on this plane.
Yeah, but they don't have the Nintendo security screwdriver that you
Well,
need.
I just use a flathead to get in it.
Yeah,
You use
fair
a
enough.
tiny
It
flathead.
works.
Anyway, we've both upgraded essentially.
We have, yeah. We've got the big boy version of the Retroids.
I have got a OLED Steam Deck,
Yep.
and you've got
I've got the Lenovo Legion Go.
Lenovo Legion Go. Pretty much almost the same thing, but mine's Linux and yours is Windows.
Yeah, mine's Windows
Yours has got a lot
11.
of other things going on with yours, but essentially they're portable computers. aren't
Yeah,
they?
100%. That's exactly what they are. They're portable computers. They're designed to be playing whatever games you've got. They've got nice screens to them. The one down point I would say that this one isn't OLED, it's LCD, but I've never been a screen snob, I think is the best way to say it,
Yep,
I guess.
I am, so that works for me.
Oh, if you are, then fair enough. No, I've never been one. It's never been one that's really bothered me, kind of screen quality. As long as it looks good when you're playing the game, I'm happy. And this is exactly that. It is.
I've always been a screen snob, but I've never been an audiophile. I've never been bothered. Like the speakers I've got speakers in my ceiling here. They are like some of the cheapest ones that the company that I use have.
Which is interesting when you work in high-end audio.
because I can't tell the difference. I haven't got an ear for it. So because I work in that industry, I've heard some very expensive speakers. Well, the best ones I've ever heard were by Sennheiser, and I was walking through a trade show, ISC in Amsterdam, and I was convinced someone was playing the violin in the next room. I walked in, and it was a pair of Sennheisers playing from a record. And you would think a person was stood there playing the violin. I've never heard a sound like that other than hearing someone play a violin.
You're exactly the same as I am.
But outside of that instance, I cannot tell the difference between my ceiling speakers and some of the very expensive ones I've installed.
I mean, I've reviewed headphones a long time ago, and what I found is when I'm using high-res audio, specifically and very dependent on the headphones I was testing, the more expensive headphones, you can tell, but only if you're using high-res music daily. And obviously as Apple...
Or if you're like on Tidal or something.
Actually, I use Apple Music. Apple Music includes high-res as part of their subscription.
Is Tidal Apple Music now?
No, Tidal's Tidal, I
Tidal's
think.
still different, okay.
So I get all the high-res versions of Apple Music anyway if it's available. So that was a bonus. And I think only... through speakers, no, I can't tell you the difference. But if I've got a good pair of headphones on, it is amazing to hear the quality difference. And to me, even to me, then it's only ever so slight. I can't call myself an audiophile. I never would. But for me, you get a slight difference in depth, and you suddenly hear instruments that you didn't even realise were in a track. One of the tunes I love using is not Ready or Not. It's by the Fugees, and I can't think of Killing Me Softly. That's the one. I use Killing Me Softly, the high-res version of that, and hearing some of the bass and the backbeats in that when you've got a good pair of headphones and the high-res is incredible.
Yeah.
But it doesn't improve it for me. It's amazing to hear. I would still love listening to that song through a £25 pair of Anchor in-ear earbuds. As long as it didn't sound like shit because they were dirty Poundland earbuds, I'm happy.
Well, I'm using Soundcore P3s.
Which is Anchor,
Yeah, which are £15. I think you linked them to me.
Yes.
They sound totally fine. I'm really not bothered by them. The reason I think when I said to you, tell me what's all right, it was basically battery life that I needed.
Yeah,
and also they're getting battered on site. I don't want to pay a load of money.
Exactly. You wanted something that was easy to replace if you needed to. Didn't cost the world, but still had a decent sound. And I was using the P2s at the time. And the big thing for me there was I think I paid £25 for or £20 for the P2s.
Yeah.
And they did something that no other earbuds had done. I could stand in the shower with them. They were waterproof.
Yeah.
I could wear them in the shower. I could wear them around the end, and I had no worry about them getting decimated. Whereas my AirPods, I love them, but it starts peeing down with not so much on the new ones because they're better and they are properly sealed now. But my original AirPods, oh God, it's raining. Out they'd come, and then I'd be miserable because I wouldn't have my music. But the P2s were brilliant. Yeah, they're waterproof. They'll survive rain, and they did many times. So that was where I kind of cared about the audio, but. You're right. On these, as long as I can hear the game and the bits I need to hear, don't care.
Yeah. So, as usual, we're tangenting. But yeah, so I think people, if they know anything about the computer hands, would probably know the Steam Deck more because you'd be into Steam. You might have heard of it. I hadn't heard of yours until you told me about it. And then I spent a long time looking at them all. I still opted for this just because that's what I opted for. But tell me about all the cool things that yours has got, because yours has got some really cool little things.
So the first thing I'm going to say, and this will probably make Bill Gates come in his pants, I'm actually pleased it came with Windows 11.
Yeah.
And that's because a lot of the games that I own on Steam, and I don't own that many, but a lot of them are on the sorry, this is not compatible with Steam OS yet list.
Yeah.
And have had the it'll be coming soon since the origin
Forever.
of Steam Deck.
Yeah,
so
forever.
I'm not counting on it ever coming.
No, it won't.
So that's why I thought I'd rather get a Windows version. Right, what's cool on mine? So it's got a big 8-point-something-inch screen. So it's got a big screen on it. Secondly, they took a leaf out of the Switch book. So it's got a kickstand on the back that's nice and variable, and you can have it at a good varying number of angles. And it's a solid,
I can see
hard to move around thing. It's not done on a ratchet, so it's only set things. You can have it at whatever.
Yeah. It's the full width as well. It's not
Yeah.
just a leg like the Switch, which folds over.
Which is fucking stupid.
Pointless.
No, it's got, it's full length. It's got a nice rigidity to it. But then that also means I can pop the controller off. So the controller standard on this is like the Steam Deck. It's considered an Xbox controller. So you've got your A, B, X, Y. You've got shoulder. You've got triggers. You've got twin thumbsticks, which are, what do they call the magnetic ones?
I don't know.
It begins with an
Hall
A. Hall effect.
Yeah.
So it's got twin Hall effect joy palms. It's got one touchpad, unlike yours, and then it's got the D-pad. But these both disconnect from the from the console itself. So then you can hold it like a Switch controller. So I can set this up on, let's say, my little table on my EasyJet plane to Spain. I can set that up, and then I can sit back in the chair with the controllers in my left and my right hand, and they will carry on working like an Xbox controller.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Which I quite like. But then it has one more little trick, because when you take those controllers off, if you look at the bottom of the right controller, there's a switch. And in the box, in its little carry case, is a little disc, and it's magnetic, and you clip it onto the bottom of the controller, and then you slip this switch to FPS mode, and the right-hand controller becomes a vertical mouse.
It's very
So
cool.
you can then use it for games like Counter-Strike or whatever first-person shooter you're playing. So you use the left controller to do your moving around with, and then your right controller becomes your mouse with your left and right mouse button, which I think is a really cool idea. Battery life on it's pretty good. And, yeah, you've obviously got all the Legion software. Now, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and a lot of videos slated the Lenovo software, but none of them really revisited it since a year ago when they did that.
You know what? I watched those videos too, and I was thinking, well, these are a year old.
Yeah.
And it was the guy, for no reason, a retro guy who was doing the Steam Deck. He came back to this one, and he's got some that are only a month old, and he mentions the Legion and the Asus one, and says how they've been updated, and that he plans to go back and re-look at them.
Which is what people need to do, because I can't see any problems with the Lenovo software. It works well. It allows me to do the control. The only thing I don't like is the Lenovo control layouts doesn't have an option to say use the right thumbstick as mouse.
Yeah.
Whereas Steam layouts do let you use the right thumbstick as a mouse. Or the left, whichever way you set it up. It's up to you. Tell me about the Steam Deck.
So, a 7.4 inch OLED HDR screen. It's, 2 trackpads. Doesn't have the removable sides, doesn't have the kickstand, but
don't get me wrong, that's a gimmick on this. I've not taken these off.
But it's the thing that I kind of went for in the end is two parts of it. One, I knew that for what I wanted to do with it was retro games. I knew I wasn't having any issue with any of them working, looking. I mean, you probably don't either have any issue, but there's so much tutorials and stuff specifically about the Steam Deck because so many people have it.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to have any problems, and I would find solutions to them.
Out of all of the handhelds, I mean, I know the ROG Ally's got a very big following, and obviously got the Ally X has come out now. I would still say probably the Steam Deck, because it's been out that much longer, has the better following.
And another key aspect of it is because of my experience with the Retroid and how difficult it was to get parts, how difficult to get fixed. Steam are linked with iFixit, And
Yes.
every single part of this you can just go and buy from iFixit directly and just fix it yourself. And I was like, I am clumsy. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to do something. If I don't have to go to China or send this whole fucking thing off and can easily just change. So apparently the parts in it are very easy to change.
Yeah,
the
iFixit
screws are all
rates
there.
it as a really easy to
Yeah.
fix because Steam Deck believed in the right to repair.
Yeah. And that was a big selling point for me. I have a lot of Steam games, but I'm one of those people I have them because I was doing a lot of those, when I was watching the Yogscast a lot. Every year they did that Jingle Jam. You could pay and get like 40 games. That's what I've got, like 300 games in my library, because they're all these games I'll never actually play. I'm really playing this because I wanted the retro stuff.
Well, that's it. I mean, the Steam stuff is a benefit. And obviously, because this is running Windows, I've got all my GOG games on there with GOG Galaxy.
That's the thing. So I can't get that.
And Xbox
But I
and PlayStation
have
streaming.
no games in GOG. I don't own any. The Xbox streaming, so I've got a Steam app I can use, which does the cloud. So I can't install any of the Game Pass games on here, but I can do the cloud streaming of them. But again, it's when I've paid for it now because I want to test it, but I never did that anyway.
No.
When I want to play Xbox games, I actually just go on my
Use the
Xbox and do it. And it's not something I would ever... I was thinking about what would I actually be doing, because I just would never do it. And even then, when I've got it on here and it works fine doing the cloud gaming stuff, and I was going through the whole list, I was like, I don't actually want to play any of these.
No.
I want to go back in and play Simpsons Hit and Run.
I like the
Which is
fact
what
that
I've been
this
doing.
has got Game Pass, which means I can do the Game Pass games rather than streaming them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, haven't been on there for ages, so I don't even know what's on there. But it's a nice to have. You're right. These are very expensive emulators for us, in effect. But if you want good quality emulation, the Retroids are fine. Don't get me wrong. They are absolutely fine.
The new one's meant to be very good too.
But you will never beat a PC with a big chunky CPU and graphics processor. You just won't beat those with those handhelds that are running various ARM chips from different companies. You're just not going to beat them.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any better than a PC running an x86 and x64 architecture, in my opinion. And I mean, it's very, very old fashioned, I'm sure. But they used to say, I think it was, if you want to emulate something, you need the computing power you need should be 4 times the power of the original machine.
Yeah.
If you want to emulate it to any success.
Yeah.
I mean, we understand that now that's different because obviously the N64 was a pig to emulate. So even if you'd got like a PC, I remember having a PC which would have been way more powerful than the N64, and it couldn't emulate GoldenEye. GoldenEye really was shit on it, and it was just how the emulator was built. And
I think it's
it was a
still not
struggle.
that great now.
It's not. And same with Saturn. Saturn apparently is quite a hard one
I'm
to...
experiencing that now. Yeah, I've got 4 Saturn games, only one of them works.
Yeah, so there is obviously kind of problems on emulation, but you're right, this is the best way to do it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're just going to hand each other's device to each other now.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to unlock mine because it has a pin.
Oh, yeah, mine doesn't.
Because of Windows.
There you go,
There
just
we
take
go,
it.
right, I've given you... So straight away, yours is so much lighter.
Yeah, yours is pretty heavy.
Mine is going to give me 4 muscles as if I
Oh,
masturbate
wow,
twice
that
a
really
day.
is a firm kickstand,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so it feels totally different.
It does.
Quite
it
squared.
feels really different.
Yeah, so mine's a lot lighter. Yours is much more squared, heavier.
A lot heavier. And a lot more chunky in hand.
And yeah, you're right. You do accidentally press these, but these mustn't be activated.
They're not activated the majority of the time, but I found... So what Rob's saying, on the side of the right controller is mouse 1 and mouse 2, and normally they're not enabled. But what I'm finding at the moment, I'm playing through Half-Life 2 because I haven't played it in ages, and after chatting with Mr. Biffo on the Retro Ramble, made me realise how much I missed it as a game, so I've gone back to play it. Every now and then I click mouse 1 and suddenly the gun goes off. So obviously I've got to work a way of disabling it in the back end, which I'm sure is possible.
And yeah, you've got the haptic feedback on the trackpads, just like I do.
You've got the quick settings button like I do as well. Yours is down at the bottom, mine's in the top right instead. So that brings up quick settings, which
So if you want, how do you get your? Okay, yes, you got to go to Emulation Station, not Emu Deck. Sorry.
Yeah. Mine's set up as Emulation Station.
Yeah, so is mine. You'll see inside Steam. Yeah, I think the thing I'm noticing is it's heavier. What are these ports on the bottom? Oh, yeah, there's that. Okay, yeah, so there's where you the
there's
FPS.
the little mouse thing,
yeah,
and there's
interesting.
the FPS switch.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 Thunderbolt 4 sockets, one at the top, one at the bottom.
So I see.
So yeah, you've added in like it told you to. You've added in. Oh right, and there's your. Oh, I like that. Okay, sorry. What I'm saying I like is Rob showed me something that he'd Oh, I see what you mean about the haptic.
Totally feels.
Oh wow, that's
insane,
really good
yeah.
haptic.
Yeah.
The left thumb pad on Emulation Station brings up a menu, so I can choose kind of RetroArch, Microsoft, Sony, or
yeah. So I was having trouble trying to remember all the hotkeys for save states, load states, because all different emulators are different. All the ones in RetroArch are the same.
Yeah,
because it's RetroArch that's deciding what the buttons are, and it was like I think options and right shoulder or options and left shoulder, and that was save state, load, save state. But as soon as you went out and went to a PSP game, a PS1 game, PS2 game, Xbox 360 game, or there's a Wii U game, that's number 5, or GameCube game, I think 6, they're all different emulators. So they all have different hotkeys. So suddenly I'm trying to remember these things. So I found like this retro, so the YouTube channel I've relied on heavily, I'm just going to bring it up now because I just had it on my phone, it's called Retro Game Corps. This guy is an absolute genius. His website has tutorials for every single one of these devices, like the Lenovo, like the Deck, like the Asus.
Yeah.
How to set them up, how to do all different things, different settings to do for every single individual emulator, some of the games that do, some of the games that don't work, what's really good to try. And one thing I noticed on one of his, he did very quickly mentioned about a radial menu. I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. So I found it on the templates, put it in, and yeah, so now on mine, when you go into the emulation station, you move that trackpad around, the left one, suddenly you get this radial menu. And I've massively modified it. I mean, I was talking to you. None of it works until I didn't realize someone just created a template of an emulator of the radial menu. They haven't actually made any of the buttons work.
Right.
So then you've got to learn how to bloody do it. Now, I don't know if it's because I've got so many plugins running on my Switch. If you are in the on my Switch, on my
Steam
Deck, that if you're in the controller layout bit, changing everything, it will crash the deck after about 10 minutes of you doing it, and it's consistent. So I was sat there last night and I power cycled the deck 6 times whilst doing it, because after a while it suddenly would start lagging and then it would just crash. So it must be doing, one of the plugins mustn't like you being in there. There must be like a memory leak or something going on, and then it fills the cache and then crashes the system. And you can't force quit. I think like holding Steam and B or holding Steam and X is like the force quit an app.
Right, okay.
It won't even let you do that. You've got to hold the power down.
So let me quickly show you this. So this is what I found, which I really like. So if you press the Lenovo button, if you come down to, I think it's... which one is it? It's one of these buttons. There you go. They've got a list of touchscreen buttons on that menu, including like Control, Alt, Delete, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I
so
see. Yeah, that's really good.
Pre-mapped on-screen buttons.
You can't do any of that. So yeah, what am I saying? So you haven't changed on the emulation system. This isn't good for people who can't actually look at what we're
see,
but we're talking about it.
I mean, I really like the Steam Deck, and I feel actually part of me might have wished I'd gone with this. It's just that because I couldn't have played all of my Steam library. So things like Bully, for example, I'm really looking forward to playing through again.
Yeah, so for me to play Bully, I have to play the emulated version of Bully.
Yeah.
So different.
Oh, well, Max Payne is a prime example.
Exactly,
I have
both playing Max Payne.
Steam,
yeah.
And the Windows version is very different to the console version.
Yeah.
There's big chunks of level missing on the Xbox or the PS2 version that you just don't get, that you do get on the PC one. So it is interesting to see the benefits can, in a way, outweigh the difference.
So I'm just holding on to yours now, so I'm actually going to go to a game that's really important to me.
Oh, what game is it?
Oh, you haven't changed the names of yours, yeah.
I haven't. Right, so I haven't scraped the entire library. I scraped, I think, about 1,200 titles, and then it said you've hit your limit.
Yeah, per day.
Yeah.
Are you logged in?
No.
Log in, you get it back again.
Oh, really?
So log out, you
Yeah.
get a few. You get like a few hundred. Log in, then you can do like a few.
Well,
you can do
what I
like over
noticed
1,000.
is there's two choices you get. The second one you choose has a much higher daily limit.
Yes, but you get different data.
Yeah, but I don't mind. As long as
Yeah.
it just got the name and the images, it's fine.
So Banjo Kazooie on yours is called Banjo 2 Kazooie no Daibuken. So you've got the non-European version. Yeah, you're running the Japanese version, or at least it's populated it with the Japanese.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm just
No, that's
my favourite game in the world. I want to see how yours.
so.
actually-
N64 I think runs fine. I tried Luigi's Mansion and I played with the emulator a bit, and I dropped it as it was trying to run it in native, and it ran beautifully in native. It must have been running between 27 and 30 frames a second, and I dropped it down to 720, and then it was permanently at 30. So I'm guessing it's one of those games that's locked at 30 frames a second
They are,
anyway.
yeah.
So I'm keeping it at 720 because it just looked nice anyway. It really didn't matter.
There's me pressing the button trying to figure out where start was. I'm pressing the top right because that's start on that.
I know the start's
Yours
down
is
the
down
bottom
here
left.
where my second trackpad is.
Yeah, or where your Steam button is.
My Steam button, that's right.
I mean, they're very good bits of kit. I'm not going to discount that at all. I think they are brilliant bits of kit, and they're going to be brilliant for travelling.
Yeah.
I'm planning on going up to Blackpool in October, which is for the Retro Expo or whatever they call it, Play Expo.
Well, I'm planning to go with you.
Hopefully so.
Hopefully so.
And it's just a weekend of retro thing. And the train journey is going to be about 3 to 4 hours.
We'll both be
It's
sat
gonna
there
both-
doing this.
We could just sit there and play versus each other.
Yeah.
I've got my big ass Anker power bank, which will power both of these at the same time. So no, I think they're brilliant bits of kit.
Yeah. So yeah, I think if anybody is kind of interested in this stuff, I mean, the guys on the What's Wrong with Raw Feed podcast were on their Discord were talking about theirs. Yeah, and I've told Jason I've got one, but it's yeah, I'm really happy with it. Even T's been having a go on it.
Oh yeah, Street
And-
Fighter I hear.
Yeah, I was watching Miranda play Street Fighter, and he's been playing Mario Kart Double Dash, which is quite cool. So I want to be Baby Mario and Peach, and you can kind of make them swap around the car. But yeah, sorry, we've talked about 25 minutes on two things that nobody listening can actually see.
No, but I
But-
think it's what I would say is if you are going to get something like this, then what you really need to do is research it like you did.
Yeah, what do you want it for? That's where you got to figure, because they are the three main ones: the Steam Deck, the Lenovo, and the Asus ROG Ally, whatever it's called. Three main ones, similar but also quite varied in price. It's a weird kind of.
Now, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works because obviously the Legion Go has got the Legion Go 2 has just been announced, which is going to be the Ryzen 2 Zen Pro 2 or something processor in it. So this one's already out of date, but I don't care for what I need it for.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to remember. But if you wanted the newest, latest and greatest that's going to keep up with AAA games to low standard, that's the one you're going to be looking for. But they've also announced the S, which at the moment is running Windows, but they are going to be selling it with SteamOS as an option too. And what SteamOS has now said is very soon they are going to be releasing SteamOS for any of these devices. So they will release a link to me at some point saying you can install SteamOS on your Legion Go.
Could you have it as a partition?
Well, yeah, I would dual boot it and see how it goes. But the thing is if they do that, then there's a good chance that the Steam Deck isn't going to be the only SteamOS device anymore.
Well, you can dual boot these as well.
Yes, because it's the process architecture, just the boring side of it. Yeah, you could do anything with it. But yeah, it does mean there's going to be more SteamOS. So if you wanted SteamOS but you didn't want to trust Valve and their in-house stuff, maybe you'll look at the ROG or the Lenovo version that just comes pre-packed with SteamOS.
Yeah.
But yeah, Definitely
That's-
worth it. Lots
Yeah.
of research needed.
Yeah.
What? No, I'm not doing the ship sound again. Just go to the next section. No one is still listening anyway. It's pointless.
Right. This episode was this episode because I wanted to ease us in. So we didn't really
If that's
pick.
what you call easing in, I feel sorry for your wife, mate. Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. So we're going to get back into the meat of it as of next episode. Now, I'm going to be planning it ahead, but as usual, as with the Star Trek ones, we'd be telling you only one in advance.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put something up, but I never put anything up on the site. Like all of the stuff we talk about, we need to get better
need
at
to
it.
get better at the site. I mean, Lightly Used is putting their episode. Pardon me. Every episode of theirs has gone up on the site as well.
Yeah, nerds.
So we do need to get into doing that. Nerds.
So homework for everyone. Firstly, guess the intro.
Yep.
7. Now they are all sci-fi, so that's always going to be the case. I'm not going to be throwing in a random rom-com.
No. All sci-fi.
Always
First
sci-fi.
person to email rob@channel84.co.uk will get the £10 Amazon voucher.
Yep. If you get them all correct.
Yes.
So next time we are going to be watching Flash Gordon.
Savior of the universe.
Yeah, haven't seen it in such a long time. I'm really excited to watch it again. Now, where can you watch it? It's not free anywhere, which is annoying. Well, you can view it by renting it on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. I think it's like £3 or something. It's on Apple TV Plus. If you subscribe to Apple TV Plus, I think it's there that you don't have to pay for because you're already a subscriber. I think.
Yeah, potentially.
It's also you can rent it through there, or obviously the high seas. I'm sure you can find it on there somewhere.
Or, dare I say, jump on Amazon and buy it on DVD for probably £2.99.
Yeah, I'm sure that the whole thing is on YouTube. Now, don't quote me on that, but
I'm pretty sure you're right.
I've got a feeling you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. So I'm going to be looking there first because I don't have Apple TV Plus, and if I can get it free, I'm going to get it for free.
Yeah, you can rent it on YouTube for £3.19, Sky Store £3.49, Google Play Movies £3.9, same as YouTube. The BFI player, if you're that desperate, £3.50. Apple £3.49. So yeah, you can rent it or you can buy it from all those places. But yeah, jump onto eBay as well, and I bet you I can probably find it cheap on eBay as well. Flash Gordon.
Yeah, so Flash
DVD.
Gordon 1980.
So Flash Gordon DVD, Sam J. Jones, £2.93.
I've done no research on any of the actors. I'm terribly sorry if any of these actors are now really people that you shouldn't be talking about. But I'm not going to put that into account when I'm picking these shows. Sorry, everyone. If it turns out that one of the people in, or the director, or the person who wrote it or produced it turned out to, not be a great person, that's not going to come into my brain when I'm actually picking these things.
Yeah, no.
I'm just going to be picking them for what they are. And
If
just
there's-
enjoy them for what they are at the time that they were released.
Yeah, if
Let's
there is
just-
sudden massive concern because there's something we obviously missed, we will tell you. But
Yeah.
on the most part, I think we're going to be safe.
Yeah, we're not going to be watching the videography of Mein Kampf. Put it that way.
Command functions are offline. Thank God for that.
That's it. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you again. It's been quite well. Have we seen each other over the holidays?
We haven't seen
No,
each
we've
other
just
except for me
spoke
dropping
each
off
other.
your presents for tea. In fact, that was to Miranda, so no, I didn't see you.
No, so we've spoken. But yeah. Hello. This is what I look
Hi.
like, remember?
Yeah,
Remember
just
me?
about. I thought you were more ginger, but obviously not.
No, so did I. Thought you were more ginger. You're more grey now.
Oh, fuck you.
You know what? Actually, your grey's more blonde, actually.
Yeah, no, I my hair won't go grey. It'll go blonde.
It's got a very nice blonde.
My beard's going grey, so God knows what's going on with that.
Taking its time. Mine's way ahead of yours.
Yeah, but let's not forget, I am the man that went to the barber. So in the summer when my hair was long, this is a few years ago now, in the summer it bleaches it so it goes much more blonde. And went into a hairdresser and said, I want it all shaved off. This is back in the day when I used to just have like a number 2 all over. And he started shaving and said, oh, why have you dyed your hair ginger under this? No, I am ginger. Why on earth would I... You're a hairdresser?
Yeah, why have you done your roots? Why have you
so-
tied ginger roots? Do you think...
Oh, no, sorry. I've got the story right. No, he looked at me and said, why have you dyed your beard ginger? And I said, because I am ginger. And he shaved it and went, oh, so you are. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, what a twat.
Who on earth would dye their beard ginger and stay blonde? I just, no.
Well, there was loads of YouTubers when they were
I mean-
dyeing all their hairs different colours.
Fair enough. Aqua in the 90s had some interesting choices, but not even they were brave enough to go full ginger.
I'm trying to think. I bet you there was someone.
Oh, probably. And it'll probably be someone for Nonce Watch now, Myla.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Twat.
Fuck.
We could end the episode. We could. But then no one would know how to find us or contact
No one
us.
fucking contacts us anyway. Now there's a £10 incentive. Someone might fucking email me. I know who does email me, and he's so lovely. Adam does. I've had 2 lovely emails.
Love you, Adam.
Love you, Adam. Star Trek related. I'm not ignoring
We don't
him.
do them.
Yeah,
we
you
don't
might
do Star
sorry.
Trek.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not ignoring you, Adam. I just need to collect my thoughts to respond
It's
to
a
you correctly.
prime Star Wars podcast now.
A lot of Deep Space Nine. He's been watching Deep Space Nine.
Oh, Deep Space Nine is great.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on then, Rob.
Oh, yeah, fucking hell. You can find us everywhere on the internet. The end. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you can find us on all the standard YouTube. Oh my God, even I've got it wrong.
Okay, right. Now I'm going to try again. So on Twitter, X, it is @_untitled sci-fi show. Blue Sky, just write untitled sci-fi show. I don't understand how Blue Sky, you find things with Blue Sky, but that's me.
Yeah.
In
fact, I need to update yours. Now you've definitely got that tag. I'll change you to the untitled sci-fi show.channel84.co.uk. So you'll be able to find us via our currently official way of doing it.
Channel84.co.uk is the website. Find all the Studio Channel 84 shows on there, like The Used, Who Takes the Socks Off. You can view us and hear us on the incredibly long Who Takes Socks Off audio
Christmas
special, and also the video special if you'd like to see us. We had a lot of fun. All of the studio guys are there. Ross being in charge, being the taskmaster. Absolutely brilliant. Really funny.
It was really good. You can also email us, tj@channel84.co.uk for me, rob@channel84.co.uk for him. Or if you want to email both of us at the same time, it's podcasts, that's plural, podcasts, @channel84.co.uk.
Is that everything this time?
Yes.
Love you.
Love you.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Sci-Fi Show. This station is now shutting down and will be back in 2 weeks. May the Force live long and prosper inside of you. This was a Studio Channel 84 network show. To find more, head over to channel84.co.uk now.